Hello and welcome to the 49ers First and 10 podcast, 10 minutes of the most up-to-date 49ers news first thing in the morning. I'm your host, Brianna McDonald, and I'm joined by 49ers team reporter Lindsay Polares. On Sunday, the 49ers fell to the Cincinnati Bengals 31-17 in Week 8, the team's third straight loss of the season. After all was said and done, what went wrong for the 49ers on Sunday?
Yeah, I think it comes down to just execution, and that's something we've heard in the back-to-back losses on the road, and it's something that came up again.
Just inconsistency across the board. I think tackling has been an issue when it hasn't been in the past. Players just got to execute at a higher level, including myself. We got to play more as a unit. There's got to be more hunt to the football at all three levels. There's got to be more penalty-free football. Like I said, execution got to be higher. We think that we're preparing hard. We think that we're putting a lot of work in. Obviously, we're not doing enough. There's got to be more. There's got to be more there. It's just what it is. Yeah, I mean, we got to be better on third and long. Like, that's got to be automatic off the field. When we get them backed up in a third and long situation. I think back-to-back weeks we had one last week where it was about a 3rd and 12, and we gave up a check down for a first down in the beginning of the game. Same thing this game. But at the end of the day, like, that's not back-breaking. Like, I think we gotta be better at bouncing back, off of adversity. Like, who cares if they get a first down, backed up in that situation early in the game? Like how are we going to respond? Like, it is what it is. I mean, we haven't shown that we can play from behind and come back and win a football game. So that's something that we got to address and get better at. We can't just be a team that can only win when we're up. You know what I'm saying? So I'm sure that's something we'll look at. And the easy thing right now to do is to say, is to tuck away somewhere. Stuff is hard. You're down 3-0, kind of hide in the corner. But I promise, like, that's not the type of guys that we got. That's not who I am. I know I'm going to stand tall. I'm going to continue to rally the team. I'm going to continue to show up and put the most work in I can. And words are great. I'm not trying to sit here and just give you a speech, but, like, actions obviously got to lead first. So that's just what we're going to do.
Head coach Kyle Shanahan pointed to missed tackles, penalties that were very costly for the 49ers. And on the offensive side, a couple interceptions and a and a fumble from Brock Purdy that really, when you're losing the turnover battle, it makes it an uphill battle to ultimately take ownership of the game and get the dub. And, it was a little bit of everything that didn't go right, and it combined into the 49ers' third straight loss. They'll now be heading into the bye with a 5-3 record, and they were hoping to be in a different spot, but they are looking forward to the week to just reset, because it sounds like that's what the team needs.
Absolutely, and it's been a tough few weeks for the team. You could tell that from all of the post-game press conferences, that the players are taking these losses hard, and they're going to continue learning from them, and they'll have a week of rest and reflection in their bye week. But today, let's look back at some of the takeaways from Sunday's game. First off, CMC worked his way to the top spot in the league record books after scoring a few times on Sunday. Can you tell us more about the scoring streak he's been working on?
Yeah, Christian McCaffrey had 2 touchdowns in Sunday's loss to the Bengals, but he actually extended his NFL touchdown scoring streak of 1 or more touchdowns in 17 straight games, and that's including the playoffs. He's now tied with Hall of Fame running back Lenny Moore for that record. He went and put up the first touchdown of the game and then had a 4-yard receiving touchdown later on. So just a continuous production from CMC, and we've seen that week in and week out. And so he's set himself up for a lot of success and is certainly contributing to the team. As a whole, they just all need to put it together.
Yeah, against the Bengals, McCaffrey recorded 12 carries for 54 yards and a touchdown on the ground, in addition to his 6 catches for 64 yards and a touchdown through the air. Definitely a major key to the team's offense throughout the season. And before Sunday's contest, we talked about how the team was going to rely on physical playmakers on the offensive side of the ball, and that came into fruition as we saw tight end George Kittle have a big game in Week 8 as the reception yards leader and making some records on Sunday also. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, there's actually a couple categories in which George Kittle continued to solidify himself. So, like you mentioned, he was a reception yards leader of Week 8, so 9 catches for 149 yards against the Bengals. That marks his season high in reception yards. And along with that, he was 92 yards shy of breaking a 49ers franchise record for most receiving yards by a tight end. Obviously, he had 149 on Sunday, so he now owns that record outright with 5,697 receiving yards, and he passed Vernon Davis, who previously held the record with 5,640 yards. These are a lot of numbers. And then he actually overtook former 49ers wide receiver John Taylor on the 49ers all-time reception yards list. So he is now 6th all-time in franchise history. So a big congratulations to George Kittle.
Wow, what a legendary 49ers tight end. And it's not done for Kittle. We're going to see him working throughout the season. I'm excited to see where he goes with this record and keep on pushing it forward. Now, let's get to the defense's game from Sunday. We heard it from linebacker Fred Warner himself that he wasn't proud of their performance against the Bengals, and it simply did not look good, allowing 31 points to Cincinnati. However, there were some bright moments from the D-line specifically. We saw Eric Armstead get after Joe Burrow for 2 sacks after not seeing any sacks from that group last week. What did you think of the 49ers pass rush on Sunday?
Yeah, I think there was definitely an emphasis on just finishing because, like you mentioned, on Monday Night Football, no sacks, and that's something you don't want to see from a defensive line that just has this immense amount of talent, and it was certainly a big day for Eric Armstead. He had 2 sacks, and that was actually the first time he's recorded 2 or more sacks in a game since Week 17 of 2021. Obviously, in 2022, he was dealing with just some lingering injuries that kept him off the field for quite a bit. So you are just very happy anytime you see a defensive lineman put together a really big game. And then the 3rd sack of the day was split between Nick Bosa and Cleveland Farrell. So, again, just a huge improvement from the 49ers D-line.
Awesome. Well, 3 straight losses are tough, but it's really not the end of the world for the Niners as they enter their bye week. The team still has a winning record. They're still looking pretty good in their division. What's some optimism you can share with the faithful entering this bye?
Yeah, I think it's important to keep the perspective of even just last season, right? This team didn't get its 5th win in 2022 until Week 10 when they defeated the Chargers. So they're taking a winning record into the bye week. This is going to allow the people that need to get healthy, like wide receiver Deebo Samuel and all-pro left tackle Trent Williams, who did not play. Neither of them played. They're going to have an extra week to deal with. Deebo is dealing with a hairline fracture in his shoulder. Trent Williams had an ankle injury after getting rolled up in that Browns game. So time is very, very good. And then we heard from Fred Warner and George Kittle that this time is also going to allow the team to fester this bad feeling a little bit. And that doesn't necessarily sound great, but you want to be upset about this type of streak and the loss, and the team is certainly feeling that. The good thing is that both of them pointed to the locker room and the strength and the mentality of it, and that this isn't going to get the guys in that locker room down. They're going to use it as motivation, and they're going to come back stronger for Week 10 after taking a little bit of time off to reset. So I think that what you're going to see in the second half is just a recharged 49ers team, and that's what you want to see.
We're going to get better from this. I know we're going to get better from it. And you look back, last year I think we were sitting at 3-4. We had Christian McCaffrey, added that. We still lost, and we're like, oh, what do we need to fix? We just need to play better. And that's the overall theme. We just need to play better. And I also, losing your 3rd game going into a bye week, God, that's not really fun. But the good news is it kind of, you sit on that and it's going to fester and it's going to be really annoying. And am I going to be able to enjoy my bye week? I will, but the back of my head is just going to be like, let's stop losing. And how am I going to be better? What can I do better? And there's like 3 or 4 plays that I probably could have been better in that football game. And we'll come back and we'll look at the film and I'm going to play better. I mean, losing's weird in general. I hate it. It sucks. I'd much rather win. But, years past, we backed ourselves into a corner, backs against the wall, whatever it was. And, we dug down and we went on runs and were able to put ourselves in positions to get into the playoffs. And, what's football without a little adversity? Man, you don't want it to be easy all the time. You want to go through these grimy games, these crappy games, I guess. You'd prefer to win them, but I think we have the team, we have the men on this team that are going to respond well to adversity. We're going to do our best, and we're going to go out there and we're going to play at a higher level. We're going to play better.
All right, well, that will do it for today. Thank you so much, Lindsay, for joining me in this update. Don't forget to follow First and 10 on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Turn on the notifications so you're in the know when we post any breaking news updates. And thank you, Faithful, for tuning in.